Welcome to the Yankee and Canuck podcast, Best Picture Series, where we talk about all the Academy Award Best Pictures, past to present.
And I'm your host, a Yankee.
And I'm your host, a Canuck.
And today we're going to be talking about All the King's Men, 1949 film. This is the 22nd movie to win Best Picture. It was nominated for 7 Oscars and it won 3, Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Supporting Actress. So this film is a political drama based on a book. And there's not much more to say about that. There's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of scandals. There's a lot of money and power corrupts anyone who gets, a hold of it and stuff like that. There's a lot of back and forth. It's like a soap opera.
It's funny. It's exactly a political soap opera. It's funny you said that because the quote watching the movie that comes to mind is obviously the famous quote, "Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely." Of course, you can also think of like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's another quote that comes to mind in the movie when you watch it. What else comes to mind? Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
Well, that's where the title comes from.
Had a great fall. Exactly. All the king's horses, all the king's men. There you go. Something.
Something about an egg. Couldn't put it back together. Something like that. So they threw it away. Yeah. So ultimately, after the last couple of films, I feel, especially after the last one, which was very heavy Shakespearean stuff, going from that to a political drama, I'm like, okay, well, I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I read the book, and I read the book first, and I didn't finish it on time. I got to about 2/3 of it, then I watched the movie, then I finished it off. So when it comes to the book, oh boy, how can I... First of all, the main character is Jack Burton, right? And he's talking a lot about Willie Stark, who is the main character in this film. Well, in the book, the whole perspective is on Jack. So you're following Jack a lot. And then Willie comes in once in a while, he says some stuff, then he just goes away. And you're left with Jack, and you're like, well, what's wrong with Jack? Well, he's really not that significant in the film. You don't watch the film for Jack. You watch him for Willie Stark, who's the main guy who's a small-time lawyer, becomes the governor, I think, or the mayor. I forgot what his political position was. He
essentially, in the beginning of the film, he's running for, like, town treasurer or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, basically, he fails at that. It's actually a lot of failing at first, right?
Yeah.
He himself in the movie, he's a terrible person, terrible father, becomes all these terrible things, terrible husband, effective politician, right? But in this case, a populist leader who becomes increasingly dictatorial.
It's a classic.
Started out as
It's a classic political figure who says all the right things to desperate people that want change.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He starts out as a good guy in the film, at least, and wanting to root out corruption and do right by the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he loses that election. I want to say it was like town treasurer or something. It wasn't anything super significant. But then he fails at that, gets back up when he's pushed down or whatever. He gets his law degree, I think, right? That's the one big thing. And then he keeps fighting. And then he fought for these families. There was a tragedy of a school building collapsed, right? And a whole bunch of people died.
Yeah, the stairs collapsed or something because the building was very faulty and it needed a lot of repairs and the city wouldn't pay for him.
Yeah, so he fought for those families. He fought for them to make changes, and he's calling people out, and the crowd's going wild. He's got all this crowd engagement, and just eventually solidifies himself. And eventually getting more power, eventually becoming governor, right? And then he just keeps going, kind of on this course, but eventually, the course of corruption.
He gets more power. It's
being what he fought against, essentially. So
yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. It's like, it's just one of those things where you're just like, be careful what you wish for. And I think when he ran, because in one of the scenes he's like in a fair or something like that, and I think he's supposed to be the folly to the other guy that the people wanted, or like the rich people in the town wanted. But then he ends up, he was going to make a speech, but he was like so drunk from the night before and still drunk at the fair. He was just like, screw it. I'm going to say whatever I want. Hey guys, he's screwing you over. We're going to need change and blah, 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 blah. He says all the stuff that people actually want to hear. And then the guy, the other guy ends up being like going to the band, play up the band, play him off. And then Willie's like, all right, shut up. Does he say that, or does the? Yeah, I think he says it, right? Willie says that to the band, and they stop, and then he keeps talking, and everyone's like, "Yeah, Willie!"
Yeah,
You
I mean, they
know.
essentially try to silence him, and because he's going off script, right? He's going,
Mhm.
he's not doing what was planned, and
Exactly.
he said he's drunk, so he's like, and it's effective too, right? People are
Speaking of
listening and
which,
going, oh,
in the
wow,
spirit of that, I'm going to be drinking Irish whiskey.
there you go.
Yeah,
Nice.
because not because of the film, it's because of the book. The book was very hard to read.
Mm.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, all that stuff happens. That's one of the more memorable scenes, I feel like, in the film, and it's also in the book too, and it's pretty memorable in the book too. So, but I would say that the book in particular, it's got moments where it shines, and then there's moments where it just falters. Right? It's a pretty racist book. They drop the N-bomb here and there, and and it just meanders a lot. Like a lot of these books that I've been reading in the series tend to be, they just tend to just go on and on, drone on and on about other stuff. So yeah, that's why I mentioned Jack earlier. You concentrate more on him in the book, and it's about especially his romance to the character Anne, who's in this film. Now she's a character that comes in and out of his life and whatnot, sticks close to Willie Stark. They end up having an affair. Well, she ends up having an affair with Willie, and then Jack's like, "What the hell, man?" And she's like, "Oh, forgive me. Can you forgive me, Jack?" And he's like, "No." "Okay, maybe." "Ah, man, no." And it's like a big back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, she cheats on Jack with Stark, his boss, essentially.
Yeah.
And I mean, were they even actually together though? I mean, it seems like, I don't know. It seemed like Jack didn't really take the relationship seriously, right? I mean, it just
What
kind of
didn't it wasn't made specifically clear in the movie. In the book, they're actually childhood lovers and friends. So there's more of a connection there than in the actual film. She's kind of like, they're just kind of there.
Either way, I mean, he continues to work for the guy who slept with his girl.
Yeah, I know.
Like what?
That's why
He doesn't do anything about it. Too.
He's like a little patsy, basically.
Yeah.
He's just like, he basically keeps what's the word I'm looking for? Damn, what's the word I'm looking for? It's where you keep doing, if someone's doing bad things and you keep on allowing them to do it. Damn. You know what I'm talking about? You know what word I'm talking about?
Yeah, you come
It's like encouraging, but it's a different word. I can't think, man. I need more whiskey. Da-da-da-da. Oh god, this is fucking strong. Enabling. That's what I was thinking of.
enabling. Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, whiskey.
It's not even just tolerating. You're just kind of almost sanctioning it. You're like, whatever. It is what it is. You shouldn't accept things as it is, but you are,
Yeah, he just keeps it going, when he really shouldn't be, because Willie ends up becoming really corrupt really quickly. He's calling up people, and he's basically like, "You're going to do what I'm going to do, or else I'm going to do this," He just goes around blackmailing people. He finds dirt on people. He uses it against them. It's just like, bro, what?
Taking checks from all the corporations and all the industries.
Yeah, and then slapping his name on there, on these buildings and like a medical centers and in the courtyard, and it's just like, bro, what? It's pretty amazing to see a guy has, like you said, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. He's very well intended in the beginning, but then that power just corrupts him real quickly, and he's just like, "I want my name in places. I want all this money. I don't want anyone to touch me or my family. I'm untouchable." Because there's even a thing where he has a son called Tom. So
Tom Stark, yeah, Tom Stark.
Yeah, so his son Tom is like a football player, but and he basically puts him on a pedestal, like, "Oh, he's playing for this college, he's going to do great things and whatever the hell." And at one point in the film, it's towards the end of the film, he's ends up drunk driving with this girl. They get into an accident, the girl dies. Tom ends up becoming a cripple. I don't think no, he doesn't become a cripple right away, right?
My dad, no. So he's basically been discharged from the hospital, and he's still on the football team, right? But shouldn't be playing because he's still recovering from the car accident, right?
Yeah.
And his dad thinks he knows better than the coach and everyone else, right? Willie Stark. And so he basically gets his son to get on the field and play. And obviously, this is football. You're going to take a lot of hits, and kids already concussed and has all these injuries and whatnot.
And then he takes a big tackle, and then he becomes paralyzed. I remember now. Yeah,
it becomes
he becomes a cripple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, and during that time, even right before that, people were booing, and I think they were booing at Willie, aren't they, or are they booing at his son?
Well, that's a good question. I think it's a combination. I thought part of it is because they want Tom Stark to be on the field playing, and not everyone's aware. They're not aware of he's injured and whatnot, so they're booing that the star player is not on the field. He's on the bench. So, and then I think in addition to that, they're probably booing him too, I guess.
Yeah, because like
he's already riddled with some controversy at that point.
Well, that's what I was. So. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like the news is already out that there was a car accident and a girl died. And I know Willie tried his best to conceal the details, like, oh, he wasn't drunk driving, but then the son comes out, Tom comes out, and he's just like, actually, I was, sir, because the girl's father comes to Willie to talk to Tom, and that's when Tom was like, yeah, I killed your daughter because I was drunk driving. I'm sorry, sir, blah, 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 blah. And then that's when Willie's like, well, since the cat's out of the bag, how about give you some money? You're a truck driver, right? Truck drivers need some money, right, to get their business going. And that's when the girl's father's like, you're trying to bribe me, sir? And he's like, oh, no, I'm just trying to make conversation with you. See the man out. And then, of course, you never see him again because he gets beaten to death. I'm like, bro.
Another thing to mention is in the hospital, they were actually saying, we don't want to perform the surgery, right? There's someone, we're waiting on a specialist or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, but Willie Stark, was like, no, do it now. And, I'll build you a new hospital or something, right? So he basically was like, you're going to do it, and then I'm going to get you another hospital.
Yeah.
Build a new one. And obviously it doesn't work out, and Tommy ends up paraplegic. So,
yep.
Yeah. I mean, Willie just thinks he can, get everything his way, and, and so.
Exactly. And it just keeps going downhill and downhill. And he even tries to recruit Jack to get dirt on a judge. The judge was with him from the beginning, at the beginning of Willie's campaign for, what was he, mayor or something like that, right? And
yeah,
because he becomes governor later by the end of the film, right?
Yeah, he's you're talking about Willie Stark, right?
Willie Stark. Yeah. So I forgot what the position he had before. I think it was mayor. But whatever position it was, the judge was with him in the beginning, and they were playing along and stuff. But then finally, the judge is like, "You're doing a lot of crooked stuff, Willie. I ain't gonna take any part of this." And Willie's like, "Aha! You'll be sorry for that." And then he pesters Jack to find dirt on the judge, but then Jack is just like, "I can't find anything." Of course, there is stuff, but he doesn't want to really tell Willie about it because at this point, even he knows it's like Willie is pretty much a bad dude. I can't give this guy anything. Well, come to find out, Willie finds out the dirt on the judge, which was, I think, about a long time ago. He bribed a guy or something like that, or he was part of a bribery operation or a blackmail operation when he was representing a company, and that's what ended up getting him to the position he's in. Those are the details that I remember. I don't know if it went like that.
In the book, or you're talking about the novel? I'm sorry, the film or the novel?
In the film, and it's the same thing in the book.
The judge becomes attorney general, right? He's AG, and then he's forced to resign, right?
Yeah, well, he resigns.
I don't remember. Okay, I thought it was something like under pressure because they made him, the judge, do something. So they basically set him up and covered up, something.
Yeah, there's a guy called Pillsbury or something like that. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot the controversy behind that exactly. There's a lot of political stuff that goes on left and right in the book.
The main thing to note is that the judge, Stanton, he's a reasonable, honest, person, and he's not corrupt like Stark is, and so that's a problem for Stark, and so he.
Yeah, but then he finds dirt on him, so he's like, "Oh, remember that thing you did many years ago?" And then the judge is like, "Oh, well, that was a big spot on my record," and whatever. But then he's just
these types, these people like that, they need to be surrounded by yes men and people who will do their exact bidding, and so you can't have if you're this type of level of corruption, and so you can't have this honest guy around, right? So
Now we got to take care of him. And what do you know?
Yeah.
The judge takes care of himself. You know, he just shoots himself. So,
Yeah.
and the judge's kids are Anne and Adam, right?
Correct. Adam and Anne. Yeah. Anne is with Jack, and then with Willie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So essentially, it just culminates to this whole big climax where Willie's accused of a bunch of stuff and he gets impeached for it. They're at the courtyard. Jack shows up. He pushes through the crowd, and everyone's waiting for hours to see what the what the verdict's going to be. Turns out he's acquitted. Willie comes out, it's like, aha, I won and stuff like that. So they're celebrating. The crowd grows wild, but what do you know? Who's waiting in the shadows? Adam ends up gunning him down. And as a matter of fact, I think there's a guy called Sugar Boy who's in the book too. He's kind of like a dumb, stuttering guy, but he's also the right-hand patsy man to Willie, so he ends up shooting Adam. Adam shoots Willie. They all slump over, they die, and then Willie's like, and then over his corpse is the words, "The end." And that's how the film ends.
Yep, that's a lot of shooting at the end, and it abruptly ends, and that's it. It's like bang, 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 dead, dead.
Yeah, which
movie over.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like what's that movie called? The oh man, I've seen it so many times with DiCaprio and Jack Nicholson.
The Departed.
Departed, yeah.
That's a better movie, and we're gonna cover that eventually.
No, it's not even, yeah, no question. But just at the ending, everyone shoots everybody, and it's a lot of shooting, and so it's not quite like that.
But it's a cool movie, though. Yeah, it's a cool ending. But yeah, I mean, but for the ending for this, yeah, it's abrupt. But I was kind of relieved. I was like, okay, well, the movie's over. And unfortunately, when it comes to the book, that happens in chapter 9. There's a whole 100 pages that goes on after that for chapter 10. And I'm like, really? There's more? Because it's like a 468 page book. So I was like, all right, let's see what more is there left. And the whole thing's about Jack, of course. The whole book, the focal point is Jack. So it's about Jack dealing with the repercussions. And she's like, oh no, Willie's dead. What about Anne? What about Sadie? Do they still like me? Am I still a likable person? Oh, by the way, back in the old days, this used to happen. I used to eat here, over here, by this diner. And I'm like, bro, I don't care. And that's the problem with the book. It goes into all these unrelated tangents about Jack that I just do not care about. I don't care about your love life, dude. I don't care about your childhood. I don't care, dude. You're not interesting. Who's interesting? Willie. Willie's interesting. It should have been about Willie. Like the focal point, the main character should have been just Willie. Like I rather get into the mind of that character. I understand that the author wanted to have like, the outsider looking in, you know what I mean, kind of approach to it. Because you don't want to know too much about the inner turmoil of the main subject. Kind of keep him mysterious and all that stuff. But unfortunately, he's just more interesting,
in the movie, honestly, Jack's probably the least interesting character in the whole.
It carries over to the movie, yeah. So I mean, yeah. And as a matter of fact, when it comes to reading that damn book too, like I read the first couple of pages on my own, or a couple of chapters, on my own. And then I was just like, bro, this is so boring. How can I get through this? And I found the book on Audible. So I was just like, I have a trial, so might as well do it. So I ended up reading the whole thing with the narration. So that got me through it. But even so, I was still like dying. I was like, ah. I just felt like I was stuck in the middle of like a college like class that I couldn't just leave, and there's just the teachers just droning on and on and on. I'm like, no, let me go.
The audiobook was even too boring for you, so you had to enable some sort of accent to make it interesting and somewhat compelling.
I was just like, bro, like the unaliving part of Willie Stark, do it to me, please, end me, put me out of my misery, I was like, enough. But yeah, but honestly, conversely, even though we're basically not really, we're talking as if we don't like the film. I don't know what you really think, but me personally, the first half of the film or the first like third of the film was like kind of dragging on and on. But at some point after the fair scene, to me, it becomes more interesting. I like the political turmoil. I like the political strife. I like the corruption because it's interesting how people operate when they have all that power. I genuinely thought all that stuff was interesting all the way to the end. So for me, the film picked up. I don't know if you felt the same way, though.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like I said earlier, I think it was a bit boring at first and didn't find the characters that interesting. I was like, how long is it going to take to get somewhere or get going, really? And It's not based on, well, I mean, it kind of is based on someone,
It
Huey
is.
Long, but
Yeah.
who was the senator and before that a governor in Louisiana. So, but it does start to develop, and then you get a sense of initially because you get to see a struggle and develop, and then like we mentioned earlier, that grassroots movement, and it grows, and so it is actually pretty interesting at times. The beginning was slow, but and then I'm also interested or into politics and stuff, so that seeing that was interesting and entertaining, and
Yeah. I agree.
but there was some pacing issues, of course, and ending was just super abrupt, and the story's simple. I mean, like I said, it is kind of dry, it's simple. There's not a significant subplots, like I said, so it's a political soap opera, and I thought some of the performances were really good. Mercedes McCambridge won an Academy Award supporting actress for this, and she did a great job. She's like the campaign director or strategist for
Yeah, ends up having an affair with Willie too, and then she gets pissed off when she finds out he's philandering all about town. So yeah, she was really good. She was really captivating in the role.
I think she was the best in the movie, to be honest. I mean, his acting. What is this? Broderick Crawford, who plays Willie Stark. He did a great job too.
But, yeah, I thought he was really good overall.
It's good and it's almost cartoony at times, but that's expected.
I don't know. So are a lot of actors.
So, true. Yeah.
Like Gary Oldman can be cartoony and he's very entertaining.
Sure. Yeah. No, definitely. And some of the scenes when he's raising his voice and the speeches and stuff, and it kind of reminded me a little bit like Gene Hackman, and his voice actually reminds me of a few actors. And so, but anyways, actually, even a couple of scenes, I was like, dude, he sounds like Dan Aykroyd a little bit, like the way he talks, a little bit, like the tonality of it. But anyways, like I said, McCambridge did a great job, and I thought her character was kind of compelling and interesting because it seemed like a very believable, as like a campaign strategist, and she was actually the fun fact, she was the voice of Pazuzu, demon.
Yeah, exactly. That is so funny.
Fun fact.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. She was in one of my favorite movies.
There you go.
And not this one.
Yeah, honestly, well, yeah, I can't.
It's okay, man. Like,
I can't.
Are fine,
yeah, I mean, like, I can't say this is my favorite film or one of my favorite films, but it's adequate. It takes a while for it to pick up. And when it picks up, it really picks up. Like, one of the main things that the film does right is that it takes only the best parts from the book, and it takes the focus away from Jack, because the people who read this book were just like, this Jack guy sucks. Put him in the background where he belongs. Focus more on Willie. And that was a great call, because it made the film infinitely more interesting, especially once he gets into political office. So I felt like that was the right call.
We probably haven't, and there probably weren't many movies at the time like that. Of course, throughout history, there was always people like that, and there always will be, and there are now. And but there probably weren't too many movies like this at the time. Of course, there's a lot of political movies we've seen.
I think the only one I could think of that we covered is The Life of Emile Zola. That was very political in nature.
True, yeah. Not this type of politician, but yeah, political.
Yeah, I mean, that was more of a courtroom drama, but this is more of about a political figure.
Correct, yeah. And I mean, the story, while I said, it's simple, straightforward, and maybe it doesn't find a way to add anything more than that typical political story, because it just combines maybe some soap opera elements to it. But it works, it's effective, and like I said, the performances, there's some standout performances, and
interesting things.
Yeah.
I think overall, if we were to go ahead and give it a rating, I'd probably give it a 6.5 out of 10, almost a 7, because the second half of the film to me was very interesting, but unfortunately the first half of it kind of anchors it down. So 6.5, I think that's an appropriate rating for me.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. And honestly, it's really the performances that are what's making it a 6. Otherwise, I probably would have given it a 5.5. But not a bad movie. Worth watching once.
Yeah, I would say the same.
Again.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch it again either. I don't think so.
Not reading the book.
Oh, you want to hear some excerpts from the book?
Not reading that. It won a Pulitzer Prize, I think, right? So pretty sure it did.
Sure. Okay.
It did. It did.
No, I'm not saying that was not true, but I'm like, yeah, sure, give it its little prize and whatever. Yeah, it gives you. Here's the prize for putting me to sleep. I have a restful night's rest because of this book.
There you go.
Oh my god! And the audiobook especially too. It was narrated by a dude. He's an actor in films, not a highly prolific actor. But he's a character actor. But I don't know. But you just don't read the book, ignore the book, and just go straight to the film. All right, guys, so that is all the King's Men. Couldn't put back this film together in terms of interest, but you know what? We're done with that. And with that film, we're done with the 40s. On to the 50s.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
50s.
guys.
There's some good movies coming up in the 50s.
Yeah, a lot of... No, we're going to be seeing more color now, I think.
Classics.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but with that, guys, see you next time.
Take care.